what's going on, guys? My name's Dynasty. What I got for y'all today is another Mortal Kombat 11 video. Finally getting around to doing a video I've been putting off for quite a while now. With the reveal of our first combat cast taking place next week, it's safe to assume every week moving forward, we're probably going to see a new character get revealed. So I kind of should make this video now. So without further ado, this is going to be my predictions for the rest of the game's base roster, plus the first Combat Pack DLC confirmed to be 6 different characters. So yeah, this is just my opinion. I might be wrong, I might be right. Chances are some of these are going to be in there, some of these are not going to be. It's just simply my predictions, not even a wish list, just what I think makes the most sense. I don't have any crazy insight knowledge. I don't work for other studios either, so I'm just basing this off of my experience covering Mortal Kombat games, my experience looking at Ed Boon's tweets, and I guess maybe just some common sense based on like Mortal Kombat 9, X, etc. So with that said, let's break all this stuff down and let's get into my final predictions for the MK11 roster. So first things first, check out this image right here. You're looking at pretty much what I think is the current roster at this point in time, and so I can kind of break it down a bit more for you guys. Here's an updated look at this roster. Amazing Photoshop skills by Dynasty. So we got 18 of the 25 or 26 characters inside of the MK11 base roster, and a couple of these you can see are characters that we've not even seen confirmed officially. Every character that's actually highlighted in blue, I put pretty much as like a 99.9% chance of them being in the game. For starters, we have Katana on the left, we have Kung Lao, both of those characters showcased at the story mode trailer. If they're in the story mode trailer, safe to say they're probably gonna be playable. As for Johnny Cage, he was also accidentally shown off inside the behind the scenes trailer. If you blow up an image of a TV in the background, you can see clear as day Johnny performing a fatality. So yeah, Johnny's almost a guaranteed lock alongside Kung Lao and Katana. Now the characters that have nothing around their squares, their boxes, those are characters you've actually seen gameplay of in some shape or form. Even Cassie Cage, you get to see an intro with her, and Liu Kang, for a split second, we get to see he's doing some kick-ass combos, so pretty much confirmed to be playable in the game. We also have Shao Kahn, who is a DLC pre-order bonus, so Shao Kahn a confirmed lock-in at this point. As for the characters with orange circles around them, I have arrows pointing to Y. I think they're pretty much a safe bet to also be on the roster. I want to say maybe like a 75% chance of them showing up. I mean, Cabal makes the most sense because, well, he was teased at the MK11 gameplay reveal. His combat cast next week is going to be sick. As for the others, for instance, Noob Saibot, we get to see inside one of my towers a time gameplay. Clear as day, it's Noob Saibot with his shadow doing his classic MK9 Noob Saibot outro pose. So yeah, you know, Noob Saibot makes sense, fan-to-man character. Shang Tsung, he's also teased in the demo menu. You can see the souls moving around inside his palace as one of like the selections for the menu screen. And the exact same thing can be said about Rain. Rain is featured inside one of the little tabs on the menu screens for the demo. And lastly, Kano, he can be seen moving around in the background of a stage. Johnny Cage also moving around in the back of the stage, and Johnny Cage is 99.9% confirmed to be playable in the game, so hopefully the same can be said about Kano. So that's everything in terms of characters who have been confirmed and have been pretty much like 99.9% confirmed or almost confirmed as is. So yeah, that's the current roster at this point in time. I think this, a lot of people in the community think this, so this is what we're working with, and that leaves us with 8 additional empty spots. That's not including Shao Kahn as the pre-order bonus DLC character, so 8 spots that are empty, and boy oh boy was it a pain in the ass to try to narrow down these last 8 spots. So with that said, here we go. Now that we explain what we're working with, we got for you guys the 8 selections, kicking things off with none other than Anenra himself, Smoke. Now, we got Smoke as a DLC character back at MKX through Triborg, but that wasn't the Smoke that we get introduced to inside the MKX story mode. Anenra, this demon who has possessed Smoke's body, a demon who's showcased inside of Smoke's MK9 ending as well. I'm very curious to see if Smoke plays a bigger role in this story in comparison to what we did back in MKX. MKX, he was kind of just a lackey, had no significance whatsoever. He wasn't even an NPC character, so I think that with them introducing this Anenra take on Smoke, they might have been teasing like featured plans for the character, not to mention the guy is a fan favorite character. Everyone lost their mind when he was a DLC character. I think this guy has a ton of potential. This whole demon taking over his body. Smoke's a fan favorite. I hope he's inside the story. I think it makes sense. Why introduce this new take on the character if you're not gonna use it? It makes no sense. What's old is new. It's not the Smoke that we grew up loving. It's a new take on him. It's a Nenra. So I want to see this breath of fresh air for Smoke. Chances are you're probably agreeing with me like, man, you know what, Dynasty? A Nenra sounds kick-ass. He does. I want to see what happens with Smoke. So yeah, Smoke is the first character I want to put here on my character roster that we've not seen revealed so far. Number 1. Number 2 is also a massive fan favorite, none other than Jade herself. Jade, a character who's been MIA for a while now. No word of Jade at all during Mortal Kombat X outside of seeing her showcase inside of Kitana's ending. And since then, that's all we know. She gets killed at MK9 and Sindel gets her crazy, overpower possessed Shang Tsung souls given to her by Shao Kahn, and she kills like half the roster. So she's a Revenant, but we don't see her with the other Revenants in MKX, so no word on where she is in the story, but she is a fan favorite. I'm so shocked that she wasn't a DLC character back in MKX, so with all the demand for an MKX as being a DLC character, us not getting it, I can't see them not giving us some answers about her whereabouts. I'm also curious, Chronica. Is Chronica the mystery woman we see in her ending for MK9? Is that some major tie-in to the story? Has Jade got any ties with Chronica? So I want to see what's going on with Jade. She's a fan favorite. If she's not in this game, people are going to riot. So she's number 2. Number 3 is probably someone you might not like because nobody seems to like the Kombat kids, but Takeda. Takeda, the son of Kenchi, trained by none other than Scorpion. And I'm only really throwing Takeda in here because it'd be weird if you only got one Kombat kid, just Cassie. They spent the entire story mode trying to give us this like insight that these guys are going to be the future of Mortal Kombat. It would be really weird if we just got one Kombat kid. And like, no, we got to have one male, one female. Cassie, Takeda, both characters come from a pretty badass kick-ass lineage. It makes some sense, I think. So yeah, Takeda is my number 3 character I think we're going to be seeing inside the MK11 roster. Moving on to number 4, it's another new character from MKX. It's going to be Aaron Black. Now the reason why I say Aaron Black is because he needs to redeem himself. You know, he is a Earthrealmer living in Outworld, being Kotal Khan's mercenary, if you will. I think he could be the guy who turns the tide. Maybe he joins forces with like the special forces. He's a good guy now, not necessarily working with Outworld. And everyone liked Aaron Black. I don't know anybody who doesn't like Aaron Black. I mean, the story mode, he was simply there to get his ass kicked by Kung Jin. So I want to see this guy do more than just that. I think he has potential. It's rare that NetherRealm Studios hits the mark with a new character, and I think out of every character introduced in MKX, I think he was really high up there on my list and on a lot of other people's lists as well. So Aaron Black, I think, is the best character to come out of MKX as a new addition. It's really tough, though, because I also think Kotal Khan and Devora make some sense, too, but you can't really have two Khans in the same game, can you? And I think, if anything, if it's not Aaron Black, it's probably Devora. Show some female characters some more love, so kind of a toss-up, but I think Aaron Black wins this one. Kotal Khan, I'd say, too, but because we have Shao Kahn, who I think is actually going to break the whole, you know, pre-order bonus characters, they're not canon, they're never featured in the story. I think, you know, Shao Kahn's going to break that. I think Shao Kahn actually is going to have a role in the story of this game because, well, we're going back in time. He might be brought back to life. Maybe that explains why he has a bunch of shit going on his arm. So that kind of takes away from the Kotal Khan character, though Kotal Khan might be in some cutscenes. I just don't see him being playable. So yeah, Aaron Black is my number 4. My number 5 is a character I thought we'd see in MKX, but we didn't. We only saw her inside of cutscenes, making small cameos. That is Sindel. How does a character back at MK9 kill legit like 90% of the roster and then have like no significance in MKX at all? I was blown away that she wasn't playable in MKX, so I think Sindel might be coming back. She was also rocking a pretty kick-ass costume back at MKX, and I'd love to see that costume in MK11, so I think Sindel is a character NetherRealm Studios probably has some big plans for, just like Jade, Noob Saibot, Rain, Fujian, a bunch of others. She's always featured in like voting polls that Ed Boon has on Twitter. Of course, she's, I guess, essentially a fan favorite, you could say. And the whole roster for this game, apparently, according to Ed Boon, with, you know, Game Informer, he did an interview, he pretty much said that he's leaning towards giving, you know, the roster just a bunch of fan favorites. So, yeah. I think a lot of old school OG characters are coming back, and Sindel is one of those characters. Moving on to the number 6 spot. That belongs to, again, another fan favorite, Fujian. Fujian not being an MKX alongside Jade and Rain and Noob Saibot broke my heart. It broke your heart. I love Fujian. Chances are you probably love Fujian. Such a great character. A guy who can give you, like, tornadoes. He can shoot tornadoes at you with projectiles. This guy is the god of wind. It's Fujian. And with Raiden being pretty much like the no fucks given version of himself, I can kind of see where Fujian has potential to kind of step in and take the old, you know, role that Raiden had, I think, back in MK4. Raiden becomes like an elder god, and Fujian steps in as like the protector of Earthrealm. I wish that would become canon, because that would be so kick-ass. I think Fujian has a ton of potential, a ton. And for some reason, they don't love him. When's the last time he was featured in a game? Armageddon. Before that, MK4. 2 games only. Really? Is that NetherRealm? You gotta change this. He's amazing. It's Fujian. He controls wind. Please. Number 6. Fan favorite. It makes sense. Now moving on to the 7th character on my additions of the roster. That belongs to Frost. Again, a character that we've not seen since 2002 in a standalone game. Deadly Alliance. I guess you can count Armageddon, but that was like a trilogy game. But in a standalone game, Frost hasn't been on a roster since Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. You know how long ago that was? And the reason why I have her up here too is because obviously she makes a bunch of cameos back at MKX alongside Fujian, alongside Sindel, alongside Smoke. All these characters you can see are kind of introduced in MKX as, you know, the story mode through cameos. Frost, another one. Not to mention, Sub-Zero has no ice clone in MK11, one of his iconic moves of all time. I wonder why NetherRealm got rid of his ice clone. Maybe to give it to, I don't know, Frost? His protege? We got Takeda as Scorpion's protege. Why not give Sub-Zero's protege, you know, Frost, some spotlight here? And I think it'd be great to see Frost featured again. So yeah, she's my number 7 spot. Number 8 spot's kind of weird, kind of tricky. I don't know if Chronica is going to be a playable character. Chronica, I don't know. For sure, it's confirmed that she is the final boss. Ed Boon did confirm that with, I think it was Angry Joe. So the question is, will she be playable? It's crazy because they go back and forth. Sometimes the big bads are playable, sometimes they're not. Recently, Shinnok was playable, but for instance, go back to Mortal Kombat Deception. The Dragon King wasn't playable. Deadly Alliance, the big bads were Shang Tsung and Quan Chi. They were both on the roster, but Moloch was a sub-boss and he wasn't playable. You know, Mortal Kombat 3, Shao Kahn wasn't playable, you know, etc, etc, etc. So it goes back and forth. We don't know, so she could very well be unlockable. It's also confirmed secret characters are going to be in the game, so maybe she is the unlockable character. But again, we just don't know. And I think it's kind of crazy to think we're only going to get 2 new characters. If anything, maybe the number 8 spot belongs to a new character. Not only do we have Chronica and Garrus, but maybe guy with a name we've never heard of as a new character. So there you go, either Chronica or a new character. So again, Smoke, Jade, Takeda, Aaron Black, Sindel, Fujian, Frost, Chronica, or a new character joining the roster alongside other characters that pretty much make sense to be in the game's roster. I think this is a pretty solid setup, I'd say. You might think different. I think this is a good mix of new and old. Kind of sucks how there's still a bunch of fan favorites missing, but that's where we get into the second portion of the video, the Kombat Pack 1 DLC characters. So hey, here we go. The first character that I hope is DLC is Melina. I think this makes sense because obviously she is dead. She's killed in MKX, and though we have the time-bending story, I'm not too sure if they're going to reintroduce her through like the time-bending aspect of the story. They could say she's just another, you know, Flesh Pit creation and have her introduced again through that, but if they don't, no worries, because we have the Kombat Pack, and just because you're in a Kombat Pack does not mean it needs to make sense. So yeah, Melina being the fan favorite that she is, it'd be so weird if she wasn't in the game because, like I mentioned, fan favorite, like, she's up there, and so many people have been asking me, Dynasty, will Melina be in the game? I hope so. At the very least, she's a really good selling point too as a Kombat Pack character. I'd buy the Kombat Pack regardless, but if I knew Melina was in there, like, yeah, dude, I'm buying it because it's fucking Melina. So yeah, Melina, first character I think makes some sense if she's not on the base roster as a DLC character in the Kombat Pack 1. Number 2, don't kill me, please. Ermac fans, I love you. I just don't know if he's going to be on the base roster. Like, I feel if they put Ermac on the base roster, it might be too much ninjas, or somebody's going to be like, it's too much of the old. So you got to kind of cover everything, and Ermac's in that weird position where he's not dead, obviously. He has a role in the story working with Kotal and the rest of Outworld, so I just don't know where he belongs. You know, I could definitely put him on the base roster, but I feel like he has, you know, a selling point to him because he is a fan favorite character, like a Melina, where it'd be beneficial for another studios to have him as a DLC character. He could definitely still be featured in the story mode in MK11, but not be playable until the DLC comes out. So that does make some sense, I think. So I think Ermac in some capacity will be in the game. It's just a matter of DLC or base roster. I don't know. But yeah, Ermac fans, don't kill me. I love the character so much. I just don't know where to put him. Honestly, I'm so overwhelmed here trying to make this list. It's so complicated when more than half the roster has already been revealed. So yeah, Ermac is my number 2 spot for my Kombat Pack 1 DLC. Now moving on to number 3. That's kind of like the outlier wildcard pick. I want to say it's Havoc. Now, Havoc is a character from the 3D era. One of the few redeeming characters from the 3D era. I love a lot of those characters, but it seems like no one else does. And Havoc is the, the pure standout compared to every single other character now. He is dead in the story, but don't worry, it's DLC. It doesn't have to make sense. I mean, back at MKX, we saw a character like Tremor, who was kind of like a, like just random selection. I think Havoc is not as obscure as Tremor, but Havoc hasn't been relevant in the Mortal Kombat story in a long time, and he was a huge standout in the comics for MKX. And that's why I really think that it's a shame he's not featured more, because I think this character has a ton of potential. I think NetherRealm Studios, if they were to bring back a 3D era character from the old PS2 Xbox days, it's gotta be Havoc. He is like the clear front runner. So hey, NetherRealm, if you're watching this, you got Unreal Engine 4, you want to make this game as gory as it can be. This guy is pure evil. The amount of untapped potential is there. Please give us Havoc. I think it makes perfect sense. I'd be so shocked, honestly, if we continue to go on and Havoc is not included in a modern Mortal Kombat game. So yeah, Havoc is my number 3 spot. Number 4 is Kenchi. Again, what would a Mortal Kombat be without Kenchi? NetherRealm Studios loves Kenchi so much. He's like the one character from that era they continue to bring back, and I understand he was a DLC character back at MK9. Ed Boon has come out and said, like, hey, I really don't want to bring back the same DLC, but I think Kenchi might be an exception, maybe, because it is Kenchi. Maybe you put him on the main roster, you swap him with, like, a Frost or, like, a Fujian. But yeah, Kenchi in some shape or form, just like Ermac is going to be in this game. He just has to be. It's Kenchi. It'd be really weird if he wasn't. So yeah, Kenchi is number 4 on my list. Number 5 and 6 are going to be guest characters. The first guest character is Michael Myers. Really just Captain Obvious, like, everyone knows why. We had Freddy, we had Jason, we had Leatherface. You gotta have Michael. It makes sense. The movie just dropped last year. It was great. From a business standpoint, NetherRealm and WB would be so dumb to not put Michael in this game. It's gotta happen. Like, they not only make so much money, but it's kind of like a staple of the franchise now. Like, you'd expect a horror icon in a Mortal Kombat game because the last 2 installments gave you that. So it'd be so weird to go from like Freddy and Jason than to not have Michael. So I think Michael's pretty much a guarantee at this point. So yeah, Michael is my number 5 spot. My last character in the Kombat Pack 1 DLC belongs to none other than Spawn. I think the wait is finally over. I think finally Spawn gets put inside a NetherRealm game. We thought it was Injustice. We thought it was MK9, MKX, Injustice 1, Injustice 2. I think finally the wait is over. I think Spawn is in MK11. If it's not MK11, it's never happening. Just recently, the creator of Spawn teased the idea again that he was on his way to the Mortal Kombat 11 rosters. So if it's not in MK11, it's never happening. Like, it's not. So yeah, Spawn is my number 6 spot. So there you have it. My entire roster's right here. Like I mentioned, it covers everything. Thankfully, even after this, there's bound to be a Kombat Pack 2 DLC, so almost 40 characters at the end of the day. When everything is said and done, this game's gonna have almost 40 characters on the roster. So I know a lot of people were concerned with the current 25 characters. Don't be. We got a lot of DLC coming, and I know some people don't like DLC, but it keeps the game alive, and it gives us a chance to actually get fan favorites in there. So I'm hyped. I'm stoked. This is just based off of what I think makes the most sense. I might be wrong, I might be right. Chances are I'm probably off on a lot of these, but hey, it's just what I think. And that brings me to you guys. What do you guys think of my current list of characters? What would you change? Who do you think has a chance? Who do you think does not have a chance? Who do you want to see as a DLC character? Let me know in the comment section below. If you did enjoy the video, though, please take 1 second, drop a like on it, subscribe for some more MK11 content. Until next time, I've been your host, Dynasty. You guys, peace, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.
Started in 92, dressed in all blue with some of the best fighting moves. I was also born in 92, oh shit. Dynasty, pay attention to where I go with this. I didn't die in the events of the first game, that's the only difference. Here to hang like a rope chain. John Tobias, Ed Boon, y'all fucking amazing. Y'all not human when it come down to being creative. Look, man,